Hello, I'm Binzer Flynn, and welcome to the Flinncast.
Am I here? Can we hear me?
Hello, yep.
All right. Sorry, I had a boot camp and then my dad called. I had to
No
talk to my
worries.
dad.
How's your dad?
He's good. We talk every night now, so it's good. We didn't do that before all of this, so if anything good has come out of it, I talked to my dad way more. And we talked about gardening and me trying to help him figure out what's wrong with his lawnmower.
Did you say you're gonna get to see him soon?
Yeah, we're going up on Sunday to do a socially distanced and responsible visit because he turns 80 on the 27th.
Right.
So I want to see him. And I haven't seen him since Christmas now because we were going to go up right before everything happened. Like literally that weekend, and it started to look weird. And there was a possibility we were exposed at my office right at the start. So I didn't want to go because he's 80 and
Yeah.
like, you know, so I waited because I didn't think it's gonna be this long.
Can't believe it's almost fucking June.
I know, right? And like seriously, I don't think I'm going back to work for a while. Like I think this is gonna be me at home in our little office for the summer mostly.
Very likely.
I'm also really glad we pushed Flynn Family Fun back until the middle of July.
Yeah, even that, I don't know.
I'm I'm a big believer in being socially responsible, and just because I want to do something and it sucks that I don't get to do it doesn't mean that I get to
Well,
game the rules to do it,
you're
you
you're
know?
doing a lot better than most people then. Everyone's sick of
So
the
it
virus, so it's
seems.
over.
Well, that's the thing, and I've noticed, like, I get it's cool, these bubbles and stuff, like, it's good, and I'm happy for people that have that option, but, like, just watching people that were around for fires and stuff, and the kid next door had his birthday yesterday, and everybody was really good. They were all, like, very responsible and socially distanced and stuff, but,
That's
like,
good.
I know that's not the case everywhere, that people are hugging and, like, I get it, it's shit, and I miss everybody like crazy. I mean, Kraus and Damon are, like, awesome, but, I like other people too, and
I'm reading that as a cry for help. I'm so sick of them. Get me out.
It's,
No
it
comment.
it it's harder because we're working in the same, like, we're literally 3 feet apart, like, all day.
Sure. It's a big
So
adjustment.
we're learning a lot about each other's work habits, which is fun, and I know now that Cryos taps a lot.
Is he still singing?
Yeah, he's singing under his breath and, tapping a lot, and
That
I'm
just
sure
means
I'm equally as annoying, but
that means he's happy. That's good.
I have a bunch of stuff I have to write up this week. He's just bitter because my work is, and if anybody from my work is listening to this, I work.
No one's listening to this. Don't worry.
I'm
We're
sharing it, so they might.
we're doing this for ourselves in 20 years.
I totally share this on my Facebook, so they might. I don't know that they won't.
I've
So
decided to take the Craig Ferguson late night approach to it. It's like, oh, no one's listening anyways. Only the people got in, and the ones that couldn't get into Prices Right down the hall. The drunks and the hobos.
I figured you'd have more people come in to talk tonight. The Mandalorian casting stuff is cool. There was also other casting news today. Opposite casting news. Ruby Rose is leaving Batwoman.
Oh man, you know what? I was actually gonna bring up CW stuff tonight because I've almost pulled the plug on a lot of CW stuff, and I'm kind of sticking it out because things are wrapping up for the season. Have you watched any more Batwoman since the first few episodes?
I haven't. I watched the first few and just, you know what? I love her. I do. Like, I love her. And obviously, I love Batwoman. And they were doing, at that point, a relatively good job of staying faithful to the source material at
Yeah.
that point. I don't know where they've gone, if they've gone astray since then, but they were doing a relatively good job. And they certainly she was certainly very true to like Kate Kane. Like, absolutely. Like totally. But the writing was terrible and I hated it. Like the plot was right. They had the right characters, it is good, but I'm just the lines are just like, it was hurting me. And I really lost the thread of a lot of CW stuff when I cut the cable cord
Yeah.
and then didn't get caught up. So
I stopped watching CW stuff in and around 2017, which hurt me because Arrow started out really good and I really liked it, but they just kept adding people to the cast, and then the fights just became melee fests. And I'm like, your protagonist is an archer using a long range weapon. Why do they shoot arrows for 2 seconds and then the six members of the not Justice League go into fistfights?
Totally agree. Although I will say, in Arrow's defense, in the final season, they must have they really upped their game for the fight choreography. Because like I was like, damn, these guys are throwing down. Like I was actually entertained again. But like,
So admittedly, I have not watched the last season, and I have heard it's really good because of the decreased episode count. There was like maybe half dozen or 10 episodes or something like that. But then my other problem with the CW stuff is that it just got so there's so many shows, right? There was Arrow, there was Flash, there was Supergirl, there was Legends of Tomorrow. I've lost like I can't keep track of them all anymore. And then they would all come together for the crossover, and then I couldn't follow 7 shows to know what was going on.
I feel like after I watched the crossover and I enjoyed it, but it was it was too campy. I mean, it could have been a lot better. And after post crisis, the different way they did the world stuff and everything, it's someone said that I saw that they CW 90210s all their shows, and it really feels like that. Like Legends of Tomorrow is fucking unwatchable. I can't even watch it. Supergirl is quickly going that way with this high school fucking drama between her and Lena Luthor. The only good thing about that show right now is Lex Luthor, and even he's starting to get boring. Flash is still, you know, they never get the Flash right. The 90s Flash was at least fun. Flash, and I mean, I like Grant Gustin too, but it's just, he's so angsty all the time. And Batwoman, in my opinion, it never got any better. It just got campier and stupider. They drew the Alice thing's gone on too long, and I like Ruby Rose a lot too. I think she's a great Batwoman. And then I saw just yesterday or today that they've cast someone to be Bruce Wayne, and that they're bringing Bruce Wayne and Batman back into things does not bode well. You know, like it's like they're giving it a booster shot.
well, they're recasting her.
Right.
So yeah, like I can see that makes some sense. Although like she never works well with Bruce Wayne. Like that's kind of the whole point, right? Like
Might actually get good if they're at odds all the time.
well, because she no, I don't want to say she believes in the killing exactly, but she's not quite so like I let them live and put them in Arkham Asylum,
Right.
like except for Alice. She is very little bit tech, but it depends on which arc they're doing too, I guess. Like it depends. But she is definitely more like hot-headed than Bruce Wayne ever could possibly have been. That's why she's a redhead. Clearly.
I haven't watched it yet, but the first episode of Stargirl has come out, and I have no idea what that show's like yet. I'll watch it and see, but I'm just so quickly losing faith in all things CW. I don't fucking care anymore, you know?
I feel like that one is going to go very much 90210 very quickly.
Probably.
Actually, based on like just the storyline with that. I can't. Like I actually thought that Batwoman might be great because I mean it's darker, obviously. And obviously you get the whole fact that, she's gay and not apologetic about being gay. And there's the whole, forced out of the military because of that. And, the don't ask, don't tell, like all that stuff. So I was really excited. And I mean, they dealt with it super well. I think it was fine. A lot of people were really upset with Ruby Rose's casting just because she doesn't identify in a box,
Right.
you know. But I honestly think I like, if you had have said to me, who would you pick for Batwoman? She would have totally been like who I cast. Like,
I think she was like the casting for it was great for her.
yeah. So I don't know. It's disappointing. I don't know who they're going to put in the role. I mean, I'm not super invested in it anyway, obviously, because I haven't been watching it, but I cannot think of an actress right now that I would put in that cowl. But
Yeah, no one springs to mind for me either.
maybe they'll surprise me.
Never know. They know they have to kind of retool things now, so who knows?
Well, I'm assuming, like I said, haven't kept up. So I'm assuming they'll end the Alice arc, and then they'll go into kind of one of the next, kind of series. So,
I
which
hope so. I've got the last episode. I haven't watched it yet, but this Alice shit needs to end. I mean, new direction,
it,
please.
it really does in the comics go on for quite some time.
Ugh.
Like it does. It's a big arc because there's a lot of family secret shit, and I'm assuming they're dealing with all of that. But like the next stuff that's coming is more interesting, I think. I just think they didn't know when they wrote the original, kind of when they actually, I mean, not the original, because obviously Batwoman has existed for a while, but they actually brought this character to the forefront when they actually decided to let her kind of fly on her own in Detective Comics and stuff. And I just think they didn't know what to do
Right.
with her. I don't know. Like they wanted her to be a female Batman. So they gave her the whole rich family and all of the things, but then they were like, let's mix it up a little bit. And it's definitely a really good story. And if people like the trades and like reading the comics and stuff, it's super, super good. And if you haven't read them, read all through them all the stories, because they're good. But yeah, we'll be interested. It'll be interesting to see what arc they pick up next, but I'm assuming they'll end Ruby Rose on the Alice arc, and then we'll get the new person for the next one. And I have a hunch which one it might be, but we'll see.
Speaking of DC shows, Doom Patrol's getting to season 2, and it's coming in the fall or something.
Thank God. I love that show.
So good.
Still not sure how their aging works, but whatever.
Yeah, I was bringing up the question of aging stuff with the announcement of Umbrella Academy season 2 because number 5 is clearly getting older. He's supposed to be stuck as that kid the whole time.
Yeah. So my thing with Batwoman, and I'm admittedly not as knowledgeable as Merida is like you already have there's Red Hood, there's the current Robin, there's the 2 dead Robins, there's Batgirl / Oracle, there's Batwing, and then like the Bat family is already very large. It's how do you carve out another character type, from that is distinct enough from the other Bat family characters that she's kind of her own thing.
But that was kind of the point when they made her, right? Like when they created her, she is actually Bruce Wayne's blood family. Like that's kind of the thing. But ironically, she ends up being the one that's furthest from him as far as
That's one of the many things I liked about Batwoman. She so went against the grain of the Bat family, and the Bat family, I've been saying this for years, has become so fucking bloated that it's driven me away from the Batman franchise. I liked it. I mean, this is me being an old cranky guy, but I think the Bat family never should have went much farther beyond the Tim Drake Robin. The Damian thing, I understand it was a whole story arc, but I fucking hate him. And unpopular opinion, I think Jason Todd should have stayed dead forever.
The problem I have with comics is that companies will quote unquote reboot the universe whenever they want, basically, and nobody really stays dead.
Yeah.
Like, we were watching the Justice League Dark movie the other night, and I don't know if you're going to watch it or not, or if you already have.
Probably won't.
But spoilers for everybody who doesn't want to learn spoilers. At the end, they basically just turn to Flash and paradox this shit to get rid of it all. And that's what happened. Reverse time and then fix everything again.
I'm very much not a fan of the DC animated art style and animation. I find it very bland and boring, and it made me stop watching the movies.
I liked the first 4 or 5 in that DC animated shared universe. I just found the new one, like, it's really gory, and I wasn't really expecting that from an animated movie, I guess. Not saying that it's bad, it was just very unexpected, and
Yeah.
it definitely has a hard R rating. There are organs, there's blood, there are people getting their, like, arms ripped off.
Well, that segues me to the next DC show thing is season 2 of Harley Quinn is ongoing, and it continues to be the best fucking thing DC's ever put on screen.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, and we have a little bit left in season 1. I think there's 2 episodes left in season 1 that we haven't watched. I love it. I love it very much. It makes me very happy just because this is my favorite Harley.
Yeah.
But like dumped the Joker Harley is like my favorite. So
I didn't know what to expect watching the first episode, and when they started cursing and the Joker was cursing, I was like, oh boy, this is great.
yeah, no, it's good. And I mean, it doesn't have the quite the edge of her. Like, I mean, it has the edge, don't get me wrong, but I do like the Harley going into Arkham Asylum and beating the Joker senseless because I'm a violent person apparently. I also really liked the movie that Matt thought was too gory. So yeah, I was really because I love Constantine and Justice League Dark because I like the magic part of Justice League. It makes me happy. Wow.
Oh, I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, and as usual, the guy who plays Constantine does a bang-up job.
Matt Ryan.
Oh, it's because that was going to be my next question. Did Matt Ryan do the voice? And that they did, they got it right.
Oh yeah, and it was a very Constantine centric.
I might actually give it a shot then.
movie too. So yeah, no, if you like Constantine, it was very much Constantine.
I do enjoy Matt Ryan. He was the voice of the pirate in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and he was fantastic.
He voiced Edward Kenway, one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games.
Anyway, let's do some Star Wars discussion in this Star Wars podcast. The casting for a bunch of them for Mandalorian. Timothy Oliphant just announced the other day. I don't know what the fuck they're going to have him do, but he is awesome. So
it's more like, what did he already do? Because filming for this is done. So why are all these casting announcements coming out after they finished filming? I don't understand. Point.
I'm flailing my arms. You can't see. So I was reading a thing, and apparently, and because I am not as up to date on all of the Star Wars novels as you guys are, but the Chuck Wendig one that he did, one of the last ones, Aftermath, I think, has a character that is wearing Boba Fett's armor because he found it. Well, it's presumed Boba Fett's armor because he found it and bought it from Jawas and has become a sheriff of this town on Tatooine. His last name is Vanth, maybe. Vanth? Does that make sense?
I don't know. I mean, I'm old enough that I remember the only guy that had Fett's armor, fake armor, was Jodo Cast. So,
Oliphant. I'm just gonna look it up. I also don't know how to spell Timothy Oliphant.
So if that's the case, he's probably the guy that was wearing the spurs in the desert.
Well, that's the thing. It says so. Timothy Oliphant is joining the star-studded cast. Yada yada blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. According to Slash Films, he's set to play Cobb Vanth, the self-appointed sheriff living in a Tatooine settlement called Freetown. The minor character was first introduced in a brief interlude in the Aftermath novels written by Chuck Wendig. So apparently he acquires a chest full of old Mandalorian armor from Jawa scavengers, and it's strongly hinted that it's Boba Fett's armor that he got from after the Sarlacc. Assuming maybe the Sarlacc spit it out. Who knows? Maybe it's not enjoyable.
Maybe his ship was at Jabba's palace, and that place was probably a loot free-for-all afterwards, and the Jawa stripped his ship because he's supposed to have all these extra suits and stuff in the ship.
Right. So maybe. So then that's why... Because they said Chimera Morrison, whose name I'm probably butchering, and not like he's listening, but whatever. That way it would make sense because they were saying that he was actually going to be a clone, and they thought Cody? Who did they think he was going to be? Yeah, no, it's because it talks about the fact that he was actually going to play 2 roles. So I think maybe they were wrong and that was just somebody guessing and that he's not actually playing Fett at all and Fett isn't in it, which would make a lot more sense when you look at the rest of the people they've cast.
And they could get cagey with the flashback for Fett too, right? And
yeah.
The thing is, though, if Fett is alive and he's in this time period, like I said, I've said this before, that people were expecting him, he's going to jetpack in and kick ass. And I'm thinking more like, you know what? He's probably fucked up from the Sarlacc. So he's, he might just be this weird crippled hermit guy living in the Dune Sea Kenobi style now, right? Like, I don't think if he's in the present time frame, he's not going to be what we think he's going to be.
See, the whole interesting thing that people are talking about too is that if Timothy Oliphant is playing this Vanth guy and wearing Fett's armor, then that would mean Fett did potentially die. I mean, no one ever knows 100% sure, but then it would mean he probably did die in the Sarlacc pit. So that would end the fan debate that maybe he got, because maybe he escaped, maybe he got, climbed out or whatever.
My next question will be, will they, because the guys running the show are such big fans, will this address any of the conflicting canon about Jango and Boba actually being Mandalorian at all? Because there's a lot of people that say they aren't, and they, like, the armor is Durasteel and not Beskar. Like, I'm wondering if we'll get any definitive answers to that.
I mean, it dents, right?
That, yeah, exactly. It's got dents in it, right? Very famous dents in the forehead and shit. So we'll see. I'm predicting the Boba Fett appearance will be a very single episode, and sure, I'm thinking that's going to be Ahsoka as well.
One episode plot device. So I hope that Ahsoka and probably also Sabine are just a one episode. For Ezra, they happen to come across the Mandalorian. Ahsoka recognizes Baby Yoda.
I will hate that. No, there can be no Ahsoka and Baby Yoda crap. No.
That's what I want to know. Like, obviously she's going to recognize the race. Well, if not the name, she knew who Yoda was. So what part will she play in his future, if any?
I'm so torn on this because I love Ahsoka and I love Sabine, right? Like, love them. And I have to assume, so this is like 10 years after they went off in search of Ezra, right?
It's only been about 4 years since they left to search for Ezra, assuming they've been searching for Ezra this entire time.
Coming soon net is not always reliable. But they have heard the rumors that Sabine was actually going to be in it as well. But they haven't said anything about her casting. So we don't know. But it would also be additionally cool because if we're going to get Bo-Katan, I think that I just think it would be very cool to have a very angry Bo-Katan. Not that she's not usually angry, because really mostly she is, but she could have mellowed. But because she just is pissed off about the Darksaber, and I personally would pay all my money to watch that. But that's just me, maybe. I don't know. I do think, but that this is the whole thing. If this whole Timothy Oliphant thing is true, I do think that he's not going to be Boba Fett at all. Like, I think he's going to be more on the clone. I mean, not that he's not a clone, but you know what I mean? Like, not the wearing Mandalorian armor clone.
Well, that's why I'm hoping that she, and if Sabine, if she's in it, is like a one episode thing, because I don't want this to be like, I will admit my more favorite parts of Rebels were the episodes where Clone Wars characters were involved, and I think probably a lot of people think that, but I don't want her to steal the Mandalorian's thunder.
Here's my thing, and I mean, could be wrong, because I trust in Dave, but like, Rosario Dawson is a relatively known name. I feel like you don't go through all the effort of bringing somebody in with a name unless you're going to use them for a little. Same with Katie Sackhoff, right? I mean, I get that she's the voice and like it makes sense, but yeah, I don't know.
See, normally I would agree with you, but look what they did with Ming-Na Wen. She was a bad guy in one episode. This is like season 1 of The Mandalorian was like cameo after cameo after cameo of one-off characters that were around for one episode, and then they went away.
I don't know, not from a fangirl perspective, but maybe I like Ming-Na Wen. Don't get me wrong. I was very excited about that, and I was actually a little disappointed that she'd have a bigger role. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and the thing is, it makes me crazy. Is this has all been shot? They know. Like, this is already like somebody knows. Somebody knows out there somewhere. But
yeah, it's gonna be a long wait till October, and I don't feel like we're gonna get too many leaks.
Well, no.
Not.
I honestly think they've managed to keep all of this secret and are actually purposely releasing it now.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Is whatever leaks we get, they're spoon feeding us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's enough to it's in my opinion. So like we know they can keep this under wraps, right? Because they kept Baby Yoda for wraps until under wraps until literally he appeared on screen.
Yeah.
So like we know that they can keep secrets. So I definitely agree that we're being spoon fed all these casting things after the fact. And I think it's enough to just keep the interest peaked and just keep it going. You know, every couple weeks something dips off.
Yeah, I feel like we're eventually gonna get a trailer of some sort, and I feel like it's just gonna fucking blow our doors off. All they have to do is show a hint of live action Ahsoka or the Fed armor, and we're just gonna go nuts.
So the only thing I am worried about, and I am and I'm not. So normally I am a follower of Dave Filoni's attention to canon, but he just threw out a bunch of stuff with the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars from the book that was supposed to be part of this new canon. So I'm already worried that stuff might get touched or moved around.
Yeah, I got faith in the guys running the show though, and they could really resolve almost anything with quick throwaway lines like, "Oh, I thought you guys faked your death." Nah, we just circulated that rumor. You know, they could be just as simple as that.
I think that I mean we get very caught up in canon, but I mean when Disney took over the Star Wars universe, obviously they dumped a ton
Yeah.
of canon, which upset people. And they've created some new canon, but that's kind of always the thing, right? Like it's not as sacred to them as it is to us. So if they realize that, it's beneficial and it's more interesting for a story to go another direction, they kind of have that power. It's theirs. They own the source material. And if they realize, this was cool and it made sense at the time and I really liked it, but what if?
It all comes down to a couple guys in the room going, "Well, what about this?" Someone just goes, "Who fucking cares? Let's just do this."
It is a little dishonest, or I don't want to use the word dishonest, but like if the reason they threw out the legends, it was bloated and contradicted itself at terms. And I get it. You know, you buy it, you spend many billions of dollars buying Star Wars. You want to be able to tell the stories that you want to be able to tell without having to be beholden to the previous owners, I guess. But like, I don't know, don't write over your own stuff. I mean, I guess when the Ahsoka book was written, Dave had no idea he'd ever be able to come back to the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars and do the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah, when that book came out, even I don't even think the Mandalorian show was even a fucking rumor at that point, was it?
That's the thing, right? Like stuff gets written in a universe at the point that it's at, and you just they're feeding on the things that happen. But when you come back and revisit it and you realize we have more stories to tell, it's hard as a writer to have to, keep stuff that maybe it's stuff that you didn't like, or maybe it's stuff that you really disagreed with that somebody did with a character. And, then you're kind of hemmed in. So it's kind of understandable that if Disney's like, yeah, whatever, you do you, boo.
It's amazing there's not more continuity points to get mad about. Like they're doing a good job. We're just
They really are.
We're
Like,
nerds, we nitpick.
speaking as somebody who goes, my like back to like with the X-Files where nobody ever frickin' wrote anything down fucking ever, and you spent half your time with like they'd tell a story one way and the next season they'd like completely like people had sisters, they didn't have sisters, they had crosses, they didn't have like so honestly, somebody's got a show Bible and they're doing a hell of a job. But I get it from a creative perspective that it sucks if you can't go the direction you want to go with a character just because something that somebody else wrote at a time before they even knew that you were going to do what you're doing, and I think that I don't know, as a fan, for me, I have never been there's very little canon for a show, I think, that would make me super mad. That's why I can watch Discovery, segue into Star Trek.
Good.
That's why I can watch Discovery and like really enjoy it, because while I have seen most Star Trek content that exists, I think, with the exception that I didn't watch Enterprise, um, I like the fact that they're like trying to shoehorn their way into the storyline that exists while adding some new twists, and to me that's enjoyable. There are very few shows that would upset me if they did that. I guess maybe Buffy the Vampire Slayer a little bit would bother me, but yeah, like I think that it's awesome that writers can take stuff in a fresh new direction personally, but that's
I
just me.
am super excited for Strange New Worlds with Pike. Super excited.
Agreed.
I like the little announcement video they did. The actors, and they seem so invested and excited for the project, and I just like that. And I have to admit, I didn't realize who was playing number one for a long time, like a long time.
I think she's actually done. It's I really actually like her character, and I am really glad that I was worried we were going to lose those people.
Right.
That they were going to move forward with the whole new stuff that was happening with them. The whole time thing, and because that fucks with everything, and then taking spoilers that I guess I mean at this point people should have watched it anyway. But when they remove those people from the timeline essentially, which I love because then that it's like explains everything that people were complaining about, which is best. Like, why don't they know Michael's name? Oh, that's why. There you go. Um, I was worried that we wouldn't get to actually see because I really like Pike and I like my Star Trek, I guess, to preface it, goes back to when I was a little kid watching the original series like on TVs at the Sears Bargain Center because my mom would drag me shopping on Saturday mornings and they always had it on all the TVs.
Oh yeah.
So I would like stand and watch, and that's how I got to see the Menagerie, the Pike episode where the, that whole stuff you see him as he saw himself in the episode of Discovery where he sees himself in the chair and stuff with his face all melted. So no, I'm excited because I really liked that story when I was little, so it's actually cool, which is a weird story for a kid to pick up on, not tribbles, but who knows, whatever. I was not your average child, I guess, but um so it's cool to me that that's where this is all interconnecting, so I'm excited to see that, which will be cool.
This is the thing that I'm wondering. I think a lot of fans are is the question of Pike's fate, because this is Star Trek and they fuck with timeline events all the time. Will his fate that he knows about is what's coming? Will that remain fixed now, or will they somehow will that somehow not happen?
I don't know.
I mean, I really like Anson Mount. I don't know if you ever saw Hell on Wheels. He's in that too, where he plays a kind of a rough and tumble cowboy type character, which is funny because Chief O'Brien, Cole Meany, he plays the bad guy in that show, and he's
Oh,
fantastic.
cool. No, I
But
haven't watched it.
that's how I first knew who Anson Mount was. So him being Pike, I'm really excited for. If Pike knows what his fate's going to be, the fact that he's still out there enthusiastically doing his job just makes him more awesome to me.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of the thing, like, I mean, it goes back to what I said about canon. Obviously, that I support if the writers decide that they want to go a new route with that. Um, but I kind of feel like it diminishes him making all of those brave decisions, knowing what his fate is if they change it.
Yeah, for sure. I also really like this guy playing Spock. I'm in the season of Discovery. He was kind of scruffy and stuff, but when he shaved and put the uniform on, it all really clicked into place for me. I was like, I like this guy as Spock.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, for a lot of people, that's a hard character to follow because Leonard Nimoy is so much. I mean, I know what's his face did it in the movies, and he was fine. But
I like this guy better.
so do I actually. I feel that he's actually got the. I mean, maybe it's because he's not as known an actor,
Yeah.
so I don't have any preconceptions about his personality. Maybe.
Right.
Um, but I've actually really liked him, and I thought he did a really good job with Michael, like this whole sibling thing, and then it explains why Spock didn't have a sibling. You
Bit
know,
cagey, those writers.
I was really really impressed because you know I know that it upset a lot of people because they were just playing so fast and free with the canon and stuff, but I just think that it was quite clever how they went, ha ha. fixed it.
So there's been rumors going around, unconfirmed, I think, but that they're looking to cast a young Kirk. So the question is, will we see him on the ship maybe as a junior officer or something? Will we see other characters from the original series? I'm really expecting to see a McCoy at some point.
That'd be awesome.
Sulu and them, they might be too young, to bring in too soon, but I could see McCoy.
Yeah, well, it makes sense from a time served kind of perspective, like his time with Starfleet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I think I could see that. And it'd be good because everybody likes those little cameos. Like, I don't know if I want to see them as a regular character, but that said, didn't think I was going to want to see Spock as a regular character either.
Yeah.
So,
I would be okay with, a young Spock and, well, not young, but a young McCoy, starting to get into their little bickering old lady couple fucking dynamic before Kirk ever showed up. You know what I mean?
That would be awesome.
I would watch the shit out of that. Somebody said 3 Star Trek shows. What is this, the 90s?
Yes. Look now.
Bring it on.
I'm all for it, really. Though I will be happier when I see the episode count.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although they have said that they're going to be more episodic and close story in nature, which is awesome.
It is good, but I don't know. I was just thinking about this a few minutes ago. Like, it's just TV has changed, right? So, for example, like TNG or DS9 or Voyager, do you think they would have had the one-off episodes have a 22, 24, 26 episode season to fill in? Like the other day when we were talking in Discord about, the Strange New Hope being a thing. Sorry, Strange New Hope. Strange New Worlds being a thing. One of the things I don't like about Discovery is that because they only do, 12 episode seasons or 10 episodes, 10 or 12 episode seasons, was that do B character episodes anymore. Like with TNG or with DS9 or with Voyager and maybe a little bit of Enterprise, 3/4 of the episodes would be about the captain doing captainy things, but then 1/3 to 1/4 of the episodes would be the rest of the cast getting, an episode main character type thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't really get any of that in Discovery at all. It's always either Burnham, Tyler, or I guess Pike in season 2. It's like I couldn't even name, other than Saru, I guess, I couldn't name any other Discovery bridge officer. Like, I have no idea what any of their names are.
No, and we didn't get any stories like with the cybernetic girl or anything. We didn't get any of that until more towards the end. And I know what you mean. Like, I couldn't remember any of their names.
And the only reason we got an episode with the Cyber Girl's backstory was because she was going to die in that episode, and we had to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
It's like they start the episode with her backstory about how she was in an accident and had to have a bunch of cybernetics, blah, 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 and then she dies. Well, that was fulfilling.
When I first saw her, I thought, oh, is this going to be sort of like a Data style character? Are we going to have like a robot? Or I didn't know if she was human or a full robot. So I was like, oh, what's
Kayla? Just for the record, it's Kayla.
Oh no, that's the one with the eye implant. I'm talking about the one that was fully cybernetic side.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
It's like Aaron or something like that.
Yeah.
It starts with like an ER. See, this is what I mean. It's been already, and I could not tell you who the comms officer is, the tactical officers, the helmsman. Like, I don't know any of their names, and I don't like that about it, because with Star Trek, I want to care about the cast. I've noticed, because I'm doing a huge Trek rewatch right now, that basically Star Trek is really good when the main cast is like 7 people.
That's the magic Star Trek number, and they did it in Picard by the end too.
They did, but Discovery doesn't. It's like It's like 3 or 4 maybe. They never really go 4 or 5, I guess.
Well, if Strange New Worlds announces we have 23 episodes coming, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah.
CBS will go for it.
Pike has very quickly leapt up my scale for favorite captains.
Yeah, he's like the cool uncle.
He is. He's kind of like a little bit reminds you of Kirk, though, because he's like that, kind of the space cowboy. He's like, hit it, he's very pragmatic and practical and easy to talk to.
I hope that Hit It becomes as eponymous as Engage
I,
does.
I think they're going for that. I mean, Anson Mount even said it in the announcement video, right?
I don't want it to be forced, though. There is a point where you're kind of like, oh, look at you trying to make a new catchphrase for your guy. There is that. But I don't know. Like, I actually really like Discovery, but it's because I really like how the story is anti-Federation a little bit, I guess. But I
Yeah.
mean, that's always been kind of my thing. It's my thing with, like in Star Wars, it's my thing with Star Trek that the establishment kind of pisses me off some. So I like the fact that kind of the direction they took the story. I really like the Spore Drive, and I'm kind of disappointed that that's not gonna. Well, I mean, I guess it can be a thing where they've gone because it was interesting, I thought, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I put it up there actually as some of my favorite Star Trek, but I recognize that that is not the general public feel. I like that they're inclusive. I don't know. I don't know. I just like it better.
I like Discovery a lot too. It was very different, but I really enjoyed it.
I feel like it was the first Trek. Well, it is the first Trek era of streaming, which is more like, I feel like nowadays streaming, so shows that are made directly for streaming services are like 1 8 hour, 10 hour, 12 hour movie, or miniseries, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Like it's one continuous plot the entire time. Like there's
Yeah.
no filler, quote unquote, episodes.
Right.
I like that because that's always been like I always have hated it when you would have like plot arc. Oh, let's just go here and do this thing and not even talk about the fact that this big plot arc thing is happening. Okay, then more plot arc. Like I actually prefer the whole kind of episodic like arc in a storyline. It's actually the things that well, it's funny because with the X-Files, some of my favorite episodes are the monsters of the week that were kind of the inserts. But honestly, the myth arc in the X-Files, it had its own whole set of problems anyways. It was terribly written, so that's partly why. But it, I think that when you only have that many episodes as well, that you like, I mean, Cryos is right. You don't have the time to develop the secondary characters
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
as well. So I think that without a lot of secondary characters, when you really have to choose who you're going to focus on, it gets a lot harder to have throwaway episodes
Yeah.
that don't further the plot.
I really liked the crisp, updated Starfleet uniforms, like the colored Starfleet uniforms that the Enterprise crew was wearing in the season 2 of Discovery. I wonder if they will bring back the dress skirt.
I hope that we can pretend that we have learned a great deal and we don't have to take everything exactly as canon and we can make that change. I mean, we changed the Vulcans. We've changed the Klingons. Like
We've
we can
changed the bridge of the original Enterprise, for God's sakes. We just have
right?
to.
We can wear pants.
So, final thing I wanted to discuss quickly tonight is I have now watched both seasons of Wellington Paranormal, and I liked it a lot. It was very funny. You can definitely tell Jermaine Clement was writing it, so it was funny in the same way Flight of the Conchords was. What We Do in the Shadows, no surprise, is still getting the edge for me, and the reason why is while the dumb cop thing is really funny, to me it makes more sense that a 700-year-old vampire would be more clueless about things like email and shit like that.
I think that it's a really nice appetizer, and then the thing is it kind of filled in for stuff too, which was kind of cool. So when we weren't getting episodes of What We Do in the Shadows, we were getting that. So I like the fact that it's only like what 20-25 minutes for an episode. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just a nice little like okay now.
I
And
mean,
I
it's
mean,
so Minogue is hilarious. Just
oh my
you
god,
can tell Jermaine's got a hand in this because like a lot of the stuff they say you would almost miss, but you catch it and it's hilarious.
did you watch the Christmas special, the
I
last one
did,
that they
yes.
did? That was funny. Like it's funny. I mean, and a part of it probably for me is because I loved the X-Files so much. Again, X-Files all over the place tonight. It was like funny seeing this paranormal investigation only done so badly that it was
So at one point, Minogue says, Wellington Paranormal's back. You know, Larry's like, don't say that. I also love Maka. I think he is fucking hilarious.
Like, he's so funny. And just their whole secret lair.
Oh, God.
Like, when he's typing in the password to get in.
The first episode was 5, and then the second one, he doesn't say it, but you hear him push 5 twice.
Yes. It's like, kills me. And everybody else in the police department's like, the force is going, what's happening? Funny.
I love the production values of the show, too. Like, the special effects were really good.
Yeah, there's some stuff they've done, actually, they did pretty well. And I mean, there's also some stuff that's like ridiculous, like that they very obviously kind of spent a lot of their money in some spots and not others. But it made me laugh, and it filled the void.
And season 3's coming.
Yeah, which is cool. And I imagine they can put them together relatively quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't think the turnaround is super hard for them. So, and I mean, they did do there's a little piece online where they talk about COVID-19 and quarantine and stuff too, which is really funny. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Ooh.
It was good. And I think
I really enjoyed it.
It was just fun. It's like good fun. It's not like, I mean, it's just laugh, funny fun.
Yeah. Good, clean fun.
Yeah. It's like funny, kind of half off color jokes, but not 100% off color. Not enough to get them rated up higher, but enough that it's like, I see what you did there.
I think Jermaine Clement has tapped into whatever makes the New Zealand accent funny, and he has harnessed its power.
And then you want to talk about What We Do in the Shadows for a minute?
Always.
It was, I tried really hard to not let you guys know that was going to be the episode that Mark Hamill was going to be in. And
Jim
then
the Vampire?
everybody friggin' spoiled it all over the place that morning. I'm like, shush, no, they didn't want to know.
I got spoiled by Hamill himself, which is ironically his Twitter handle. Otherwise, I might not have known. But he's like, I'm on tonight. I'm like, God damn it, Skywalker.
Hell, I know. And then Fat Apollo came in and posted, and I'm like, oh. He's like, but it's in the spoiler thread. I'm like, yeah, I know, but we have so many different topics we spoil in here that at this point, people are just looking and gonna get accidentally spoiled. It was really good. I think that Jim the Vampire was kind of awesome, and I think Hamill did a fabulous job.
He was hilarious. I hope we see him again.
It would be good, and I think they could, because I mean, we could, if we bring back all of the other older vampires that we had.
Well, his vendetta with Laszlo's not over. He thought it was, but then.
Well, now that his Billy Bass broke, like.
Craven's way. Hamill is a delight.
He really was, and he just did like, I mean, I don't know the backstory how he ended up on there. I don't know whether it was just he's a fan of the show and he was like, I would like to do a thing, or if they reached out to him, or how that happened. But oh my God. And I mean, I love it when he does voices, and I loved the fact that he didn't, because I love Mark Hamill, but sometimes his villainy characters all sound
like the Joker.
Like the Joker. Like,
we're pretty forgiving about it, but yeah, you're right.
They really do. So I like the fact, I was like, please don't let him make it sound like the Joker. But he didn't. He actually it was a very good,
it was different.
Vampire-y, but not like over the top, like a very American vampire-y.
One human alcoholic beer, please.